Hello, everybody. As you may have heard, we had a little beheading in the outskirts of Paris. And with we, I mean, of course, us Europeans, both the murderer and his victims are Europeans. The killer was from Chechnya, which is a Muslim country in the east of Europe. And the victim was, of course, a Frenchman, his teacher, as it turns out, his history teacher. And this is also the reason why they clashed. The history teacher dared to show the cartoons of Charlie Hebdo, the famous cartoons which you are all acquainted with, I guess, in the classroom in order to advance the idea of free expression and free speech. This was, of course, portrayed very differently by Emmanuel Macron, who gave a speech in the very night after the killing. When he claimed that the lesson was about tolerance for religion, means or includes tolerance of a lack thereof, which may be a part of that message. I was not in the classroom, but it is not the reason why somebody would show the cartoons of Charlie Hebdo. It is also mentioned in that speech, but not emphasized like that claim it was about not having a religion or the right to not having a religion. As Mr. Macron said, he said it twice, that people in France are free to believe or not to believe. This is not the point. The killer tried actually to achieve an obedience, a submission to a certain behavior. It was about the enforcement of the killer's version of the Sharia, which is a widely held version of the Sharia, and also about the prohibition of showing the image of Mohammet. For many Muslims, including the killer, Mohammed may not be shown in any pictures or in any in any depiction whatsoever. This is contested by another part of Islam, predominantly by Shia Islam, but also by many Sunni Muslims. For other Muslims, this is rather a form of heresy because Muhammad in Islam, in formal Islam, is actually a human being and not a deity, and that those two things must be separated. So there are streams within Islam that are a bit more like a Judeo-Christian tradition, where you honor a man but you worship God, and you separate these two things. And if you cannot stand the proliferation of images of a person, and you obviously are mixing up these two very, very distinct things. And this is very important, particularly in Judaism, I guess also to some degree in Christianity. And for many Muslims who swear in their daily prayers not to have gods outside Allah, the enhancement of the ideal man to the levels of a deity is a heresy in itself. And this leads us to the actual problem of the story, which is that Muslims cannot debate these things among themselves. And the issue is bigger than just a madman. A madman does exist in every single culture. It does exist in every group that's big enough. That's just a statistical fact, so to say. Madmen do exist, and it's a tragedy that we have to see such events occasionally. The issue is, however, that this is not an isolated case, and there are obviously more madmen willing to behead others in Islam than in other comparably large demographics. And the issue is far from being whether you are a Muslim or not, or whether you are pro-religion or against religion. The issue really at its heart is about, are Muslims to freely speak about Islam, or are they cowed by these violent members of their community, or are they cowed by their bosses on the workplace? Are they cowed by the media and their social environment? Are they free to openly debate what belongs to Islam and what doesn't? Is Muhammad a god or a man, and is the practice with which he is admired still adequate? These questions can't be discussed among Muslims anymore. This is because they are all, and we are all, cowed to talk about the entire topic of Islam. And in addition to that, the issue is aggravated by the exploitation of the political left, because they are using the silence surrounding Islam, surrounding the immigration, to advance their own political goals. They want the voting bloc, and all Muslims are economically more to the left. And also when it comes to setting the limits to the government, let's say almost all Muslims, I said all Muslims, but of course we always have these precautions, but you have a hard time to actually find a Muslim that is pro-free speech, pro-free markets, and pro other typically conservative values. You have a much harder time to find a Muslim to actually adhere to all of these values. The Muslim community is a solid voting bloc of the political left, and after every single jihadi attack we hear the same propaganda tools. And in this speech he also used again the idea that the true wish of the jihadi was to sow division. This is of course complete nonsense. The jihadis want the Sharia law. They want you to subdue yourself under the behavior of their idea of Sharia. That's what they have in mind. But why do they claim that they want division? Well, it is because they want unity. They want unity for themselves. They want the republic to be quiet, that we all just roll over, that we just let this happen again and again and again, and just shut up. Meanwhile, the security procedures for our elites become ever more obscene, ever more expensive. They are building moats around their parliaments and so forth. So the security ratchets up for our elites, but your average citizen is left in ever more danger, and we are just supposed to take it, and we are not supposed to talk about it. And division, as the elites try to sell us over the media, is always presented as if it were a hostile division. But you can have different views and be peaceful and civilized about it. You can sort out your differences in a peaceful, democratic, and civilized way. And I don't think that the jihadis actually want us to be divided and peacefully sort out the differences that exist in every family, in every community, that just simply happen to exist. What jihadis actually want is more closely to what the left actually wants, and that is to shut us up. And I think, or I hope, that Mr. Macron does not get his way, and I hope that the jihadis don't get their way, even though Twitter and Facebook and all these social media companies, they are also dead set to kind of stifle the overall debate and stop every option for a peaceful dialogue over the differences that do exist in every single group. That was it for today, and I'll see you soon. Bye.